Hello and welcome to the Double M Farm. Boy, do we have some big, exciting news on the farm. We're going to take a little walk and show you what Little Red, Harbor Freight Towable Trencher Backhoe, and Little Blue, the Ford 1210 tractor, and our Little Red scoop pan are going to be doing on the farm. I'm real excited about what we've got going. Take a little quick walk through the barn here. Let's see, I need to turn off the water to the water pump, or the power to the water pump. I was pumping up the little pond for the ducks. So let's take a quick walk. I'll try not to keep you too long. I know people don't like long videos. Hey, quackers. How are you quackers? They're looking for a treat. What that switch I just flipped was to the pump down in the spring at the bottom of the hill. I pumped water up here into this little hole that the Harbor Freight trencher dug for me for the ducks to play in. Hey girls, y'all were supposed to be in the pasture grazing. Yeah, I'd say the little duck pond is full. It's running over. I know. Life's hard when you're a goat, isn't it? It is. Yeah, it's so hard being a goat. It is. It's a tough life. There's the skinny girl. And no, she's not pregnant. She had a belly like that when she was 6 weeks old. It's been that way ever since. But I want to show you what we're going to be doing here at the farm with the Harbor Freight trencher and the tractor and the scoop pan. We're undertaking a major project. And when I say major, I mean major. I realize that hills and slopes don't show up well on camera, but I'm walking currently down a very steep hill, trying not to shake the camera any more than I can help, but it's very steep. And if you can see the fence in front of me, that's my property line. That fence is about 6 inches on my side of the property line. Maybe a foot on my side. And the fence runs from the road up front, up there, and you may be able to see an orange flagging. That's my property line. Just had the surveyor here this week, reestablishing the pen. And right there, if you can see that orange flag, I'm a good 4 feet on my side of the line there. At the time I put the fence up, that pen had gotten buried, and I wanted to make sure I stayed on my side. But I found the pen at the back, so the fence runs at a slight angle. It's about 5 feet on my side of the line up there, and about a couple of feet on my side of the line way back there at the back. But here's what we're getting ready to do on the Double M farm. If you'll look, I'm trying not to hit this hot wire because it is really hot. If you'll see that drainage ditch there that runs right parallel to my fence, that drainage ditch is pretty much the line, property line between me and the neighbor. And when it rains, it all comes from the road up there and it washes. And that ditch, if it's a big rain, that ditch cannot handle it. You'll see those wooden parts of the fence. That's where I have actually turned my fence and jogged it to cross over, because the drainage ditch starts on my side of the property, comes in an angle and runs in parallel and down the property line. So I have to cross it right there. And it's constantly washing out my fence. And then I have all of the drainage. If I hold the camera level right there, you can see how much of a drop off it is. So all of the drainage of the property comes down through these trees, and in a big rain, I have actually had it lift this gate up off its hinges. I had the hinges both turned up so that if I ever needed to move the gate, I could just lift it off the hinges. But I had to reverse this hinge and turn it down because so much water came through, it literally picked this gate up off of the hinges, and the gate was laying on the ground up against my property fence there where the water had just gushed through here. So that's been a battle I've been fighting for 15 years, Every time I have a big rain, I have to come down here and do repair work on the property and the fence. So, to get to the point, quit beating around the bush, I have bought a strip of this property across the fence. It's basically a 1 acre strip from the front to the back. It's about 70 feet wide and runs from, if you leave my pen and follow the road, we've established a new pen, and then run parallel down my property line all the way to the back and back over to my existing pen. So I just bought a wide strip of this lowland that joins me. And I say bought it. The lawyers are drawing up the papers. Everything's been agreed to, and price has been agreed to. And so this is about to become mine. This swamp you're looking at is about to become mine. I'm about to be the proud owner of that. But here's the good part. You can see right there, I showed you that ditch there. You see how dry it is. The only time there's water there is when it rains. But look, water. Sure, it won't show up on camera, but right there is a spring that, according to an old timer, even older than me, whose grandfather and great-grandfather lived on this property, they drank from that spring in the 1800s and had been drinking out of it ever since, and it has never run dry. And I know in the 15 years I've owned this piece of property, that spring has never run dry. It runs like that, continuous. So, we're going to be taking our fence up, moving it, and I don't know if it'll show up camera, but there's an orange flag way over right there. See if I can get my finger on it. Now I've lost it. Yeah, the wind's blowing it. Now it's behind a tree. But there's an orange flag way over there, right about there, flapping in the wind. That's my new property line. So this fence that I'm standing at is going to be over there. This is going to be wide open. That means me and Little Red, the Harbor Freight Towable Trencher Backhoe, are going to be digging this out to a much bigger, more substantial canal. And then we're going to be cleaning this out. And you can see how that water is running right there. Hopefully it's showing up on camera. That water's running really fast there. That spring really flows hard. They can see it a little bit there. And you can see it across my fence running. That water runs all the way to the back of the property. Way back there you can see fence panel. That's the corner. Well, that corner will soon be way over in there. And everything you see, I'm going to start digging down right here. That's where I've dug it out. There's another spring that comes out right there. It used to bubble up to the surface. And I dug it out with the Harbor Freight trencher, and that's the pump I had turned on that was pumping water up there for the ducks. And it goes up that hill, up to the barn. And you can see the water there. I had it pumped down. It was up to the top of the hole. And I just pumped it down to fill up the duck pond. Well, pretty soon the ducks won't have to be in that little pond, because I'm going to start right here and dig this out with the Harbor Freight trencher. We're going to go from the new fence. Obviously, I'll leave enough hill to walk the new fence and maybe to drive on. Leave maybe an 8 to 10 foot strip of land at the fence to get the truck and the tractor and the backhoe and everything in to maintain the fence. But then from there, all the way over till about where you see that drop off, I'm going to start digging, and I'm going to just zigzag digging my way back and forth with the Harbor Freight trencher, making piles of dirt, scooping them up and hauling them off with the little tractor and scoop pan. Some places where I have plenty of access, like right here, I'll use my trailer and load the dirt on it and haul it off. Basically, I'm going to start digging here, and over the next couple of years, I'm going to be digging all the way to pretty close to where you see the end of the fence right there. I will obviously stop far enough to make a spillway to spill over and go under my fence. I have to build a nice, substantial, predator-proof barricade there, but I'll have a spillway. And yes, we're talking a pond. We're going to have a spring-fed, clean, clear water. You can see the leaves, how clear that water is bubbling out of the ground there. We're going to have a clear water spring pond. And my best estimations, of course, obviously all that's going to have to be cut and cleaned out. What I'll do to begin with, as soon as I get the fence moved over, that'll give me the rest of the winter. This is first week of December as we're filming this, 2020. And so the goats will get the first crack at that during the winter. Then in the spring, I'll start cutting anything too big for the goats and cutting up and hauling away and getting a lot of firewood. Then by summer, I'll start digging with the Harbor Freight trencher. And I'm hoping that with the depth that I can go down here, that as you see the spring running there, wherever I stop, it'll be somewhere along here is where the pond will start and go that way. And I'm going to be digging down, so we'll actually have a little stream here and a waterfall pouring into the pond. That's the planned design we have. This spring ditch will dump into the pond in the form of a waterfall. That's the plan. Be a nice little gentle waterfall going into the hole that we dig. Won't have to be doing any damming. We're just going to be digging straight down so that the water collects before it goes off. I will also up there be digging a catch basin for the storm water that comes down the hill that I was talking about originally. I'll be digging out a catch basin to slow that down and settle the runoff and dirt before that comes over into the main canal and eventually runs into the pond along with the spring water. So there will be times in major storms, which we get maybe once a year, once every other year, the really big rains. There'll be times when I'm sure the pond will get dirty and cloudy and have to be taken care of. But if I am able to do what I want to do up there with a catch basin to help settle that, that'll eliminate a good percentage of any runoff I get from storms as far as mud and debris getting into the pond. But I'm very excited. It's going to be super cool. We're going to have us a nice pond. Best estimation so far we've been able to come up with the surveyor when he was out here is, depending on how far I dig up this hill, I know pretty much how far I'll go over that way to the fence. So depending on how far I go this way, I'm going to have somewhere between a 1/2 to 3/4 acre pond. And with the Harbor Freight trencher, I can get it 8 foot deep if I want to. And of course, I'll be tapering it up on the sides. But that's what we're going to be doing. That's the big project. There's water right there from the spring. That's already 2 foot deep right there, maybe 3. And we're real excited. It's going to be a nice project. It's going to add a lot to the homestead here at the Double M farm. You can see the end of the fence. Maybe you can see it right there. That green area, that's the end of my fence. So that's how far back we'll be going. And it'll go way over there with the new strip. So all of this, everything you see here, will basically be a pond. So that's the big news from the Double M farm. It's going to be a lot of good, interesting videos coming up shortly. I say shortly, by spring, we hope. It'll take us that long to get the fence moved and get all of this wooded area cleaned up enough to start digging. It's really not near as thick on the other side of this. It's pretty open over there. So I'll be able to get access in from the other side as well. But once I take this fence up, I'll be able to get in from this side. And the goats, well, you know what goats do. That right there used to look like where the pond's going to go. That's just how thick it was. And in no time, the goats had it cleaned up like that. And then I'll just cut the big stuff. And I have 2 lakes nearby, 2 nice big lakes nearby, Lakes Kiowee and Lakes Jocassee. Oh, actually 3, and Lake Hartwell are all within an easy drive of the homestead. And I can go to any of the boat ramps there and catch 5-gallon bucketfuls of hand-size bluegill and stock this thing. And hopefully catch some bass too. If I have to, I will buy some fingerlings to stock it, but that's way down the road. And boy, I've been talking a long time. This video is already up to 15 minutes, and I said I was going to keep it short. So that's the big news on the Double M farm, and the Little Red and Little Blue and yours truly are getting ready to have a lot of fun over the next 6-8 months to a year or so. And we invite you all to stay tuned and come along with us on this journey as the Harbor Freight Towable Trencher Backhoe and myself and the Double M farm embark on building a spring pond. So thank you for joining us here on the farm, and we'll talk to you again real soon.